What's going on, guys? So today was a big day for NVIDIA and the stock market. We had earnings after the Wednesday close, and I feel like people was a little disappointed. I feel like a lot of people thought this move was gonna go to the upside and everybody was gonna be millionaires and life was gonna be good. But seemed like it had a nice pullback. So some people, a lot of dreams got crushed, right? I don't know how much money people's been putting up on these positions, but if you've been paying attention to the word on the street, a lot of people expected NVIDIA to obviously beat earnings, but you know how it is with the stock market. Sometimes you could beat earnings and the market could come down, right? And in this case, they reported that even though they beat earnings, as everyone expected, their new product, which is called Blackwell, in the past they said that everything was all good, and in this earnings they said they needed some improving on the Blackwell product, right? So I guess they ran into some little hitch or something like that with the product development, and it's no real issue. They just have to address it. And after listening to the meeting with the CEO, he said, numbers are going to be great for the next couple years, and they'll give you the vague language, but I just feel like based on everything, there's still a lot of uncertainty in the air. And honestly, that's why I made this video, right? To give you guys a good insight on how do I feel about NVIDIA and the stock, and where do I feel like it can go and what is likely to happen next, right? So we're gonna hop straight into it. We got the 4-hour chart right here, and you can see we have this bull flag right in front of us, which was broken today when NVIDIA had their earnings, right? So usually with a bull flag, we expect it to break out to the bull side, which is up, right? But in this case, the opposite happened. And that's not the case for every single bull flag that it should break up. It is the possibility it could break to the downside, and this was one of those cases. So just paying attention to the volume here, you can see obviously this day here had one of the highest amounts of volume. These two candles compared to two candles on each of the other days, that's one way that you could see if the market has momentum or not, right? But hopping straight into the action of the semiconductor chips, which is what NVIDIA, this company, pretty much is all about. We're gonna shift over to SMCI really quick because this had a big move down today, which has business. They do business with NVIDIA, and it could likely affect NVIDIA's price going forward as well, the price action. And you can see today, straight out the gates, they had some news, negative news, and they dropped pretty hard, right? It was trading at about 540 yesterday, and today down to 395, right? It's a crazy move, and that gave some, I guess shifted the sentiment a little bit more to the downside for NVIDIA coming into the earnings after close. But that's just something to pay attention to the downside, right? Another aspect of SMCI, we're gonna switch back, but we're just gonna show you how simple technical analysis really is, right? Now, this was a nice crazy wave. Honestly, this came from about, man, this was 2022, 2023, 2023, let's say $100 to 300 and some change, right? This pretty much topped out at about 360. So we're just gonna draw a simple resistance line 357. That's the real number. All right, so we're just gonna adjust that, 357. And simple technical analysis tells us that whenever a resistance level is broken, such as this case here, we broke to the upside and went all the way up to 1,220 within like 2-3 months, pretty much 2 months, right? From the start of January to the end of February, right? Beginning of March. And since then, we've been traveling all the way down from that $1,000, $229 mark. We came down to 396 today. And this just shows you all we got to do is follow the simple 101 of technical analysis, which teaches us whenever that resistance is broken, the price is likely to come back down to that same resistance level to hold it or test it as support, right? So we're expecting it to come down to test this resistance. We don't know if it's going to happen in this wave right now. This is 1 week. It could make a move up back towards 480, maybe 500 or higher, but it has a lot of room to travel up before it could come back down to test anything lower. So that's just keeping an eye out for SMCI. And back to NVIDIA. All right, NVIDIA's weekly chart, you can see we've been traveling up crazy, right? 2023 was a great year. 2024 was an even better year. We traveled from about, man, this is before the split, but okay, $49 all the way up to 140, and then from 140 down to about $90, and then from 90 all the way up to 130. Now this move happened in August, right? So this is the weekly chart. Each candle represents 1 week. So this is literally 4 weeks ago. We was at $90 and went up to 130, right? Imagine the options on that. So this is another example of simple resistance being broken, coming back to be tested as support. This was a little sloppy, but it got the job done. And what happens after this is pretty much in the air, honestly, right? You want to say, hey, we're going to keep going up, and there's reasons to justify it, right? NVIDIA is a great company. We're above the 9 EMA. We have the volume to do it. And honestly, you got to take into consideration this is an election year. And I'm not going to lie to you, like I know the statistics, but I feel like markets, tend to go up in election years, which has been happening. It's just around this time it's a little uncertain, and when things are uncertain in the market, price likely shows that in the form of either ranging in the same area or pulling back. Why? Because people are either pulling out their money or they are shorting the market. And there's no one really to push the market up because they don't really want to invest their money when things are uncertain. All right, so we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into what I really thought coming into today's earnings, and I feel like what I felt like the situation was just iffy, right? The situations were just iffy, and the reason why is because there was a lot of people saying, hey, NVIDIA's gonna beat, all right? And if you think NVIDIA's gonna beat, most likely you're thinking it's gonna go up. So my whole, I guess, methodology, philosophy, whatever you want to call it, about the stock market is their main job is to take out money, right? And that's pretty much how they make money, right? Is by making sure that they're taken care of, and in order for them to fill their orders, right, if they want to buy, they need someone to sell. and that's where we come in, right? So we're actually bait. So if you look at the stock market, you're gonna see a lot of situations where you thought price was gonna go up and it actually did the opposite. And that is an example of, I guess you could call it trader psychology, right? One aspect of it, because traders follow certain patterns like a breakout, where if it gets above a certain resistance level, we think is going to continue and break out. But the market makers like to take advantage of that and use that as liquidity for maybe they want to sell, right? Get out of their position, take some profit, or get into short positions to make money on the way going down. But either or, they're going to need buy orders in order to fulfill that, right? So long story short, you got to be aware of what the agenda of the market is, dependent on the area that the price is at. And the most simplest way to explain that is in supply and demand, where wherever you see a demand zone, then you could look to see if the market would like to travel up. And wherever you see a supply zone, you could see if the market wants to travel down anytime it gets to that zone. Notice you can see a lot of fake outs, a lot of pump fakes. So you got to be really good at being aware of the real signal, the real conditions, waiting for the SPY to maybe, which is the overall market, the S&P 500, to be in your direction before actually entering your trades. And things could look good and pump fake and go the opposite way, so be ready to stop out your trades. All right, so in terms of today, like I said, people thought it was gonna beat earnings. I hear some beat. So what do I expect NVIDIA to do, and where are we likely to see the price in the short term? So we're going to zoom into this action here and see what is going on with the price action. This stands out as a level to me because we traveled down and we stopped before moving up. So this is a pivot point, which is at 122.60. We went all the way up here, 128, and when we broke through this level of 122, we traveled down 7 points to 115. So that is important because I have this level in this area where I was saying NVIDIA could potentially travel to because it's a gap, right? This is one reason, right? It's at 109. Now I really don't expect NVIDIA to travel past 109 in this short-term wave. Maybe in another wave it could travel up from 109 and then travel down lower, but from the chart I could see that this 108 110 area has been a resistance in the past, right? You can see its price came to the level and went down, came to the level and went down, came to the level, did it many times. You got like a nice cup and handle type of situation. So a lot of orders here at this level 109, and I feel like the market has gotten enough time to gather what they needed to. And yeah, that is just my target, 109 to the downside. Now why is that important is because from 122, the breakout level we just pointed out, to 109, that is about, say, 13, right? 13 points. And I rounded that, so remember, you know, there's obviously plus or minus maybe one point, and 7 being that we made a 7-point move today. That is halfway, right? About halfway to that target. And that is something that the market usually does when it has a target that it wants to reach. It won't just make a straight shot, right, down, or a straight shot up to the target. It would make a move, pull back or consolidate, and then make that second or third push to the towards that target. Now, usually that halfway point is a good area that the market likes to stop at, consolidate before moving to that overall target. So being that we actually had that target and we see the market moved exactly halfway to that point, well, roughly, that gives us gives me a good sign that 109, 108 is a good target area. Could go further down, but it gives me something to look, something tangible, to expect, and I could trade off of. Now, if the market does pull back, which I feel like could happen tomorrow, why? Because with the sentiment coming down, the reverse psychology would obviously say the market, not the reverse psychology, because the market is going down. This is more like the availability bias or the recency bias, where whatever just happened, we're more biased to thinking that's going to play out. So the market coming down, we think tomorrow is going to continue to come down, which is why I say the reverse psychology of the market is, if that's what we expect to happen, then they are more likely to do the opposite, which is push it up. So I could see the market potentially going up, and I'm going to use a Fibonacci level. I like this wave here. I'm going to bring it here. Why? Because this is a fresh wave. Obviously, I could use this entire one, and we're going to do that next and see what levels we get. But from this wave, I see 618, which is 121. All right. So that means that this was the high. We traveled all the way down here, and if we're pulling back, right, 20%, 30%, 50%, this 61.8% is usually a very high probability point where we could reverse. And you also have this level here, previous resistance 122, and the ultimate one here is 125, and the super ultimate is 128, which is where we push right before the huge drop. So those are all areas where you could look for the market to reverse, maybe get a scalp, or if you want to go for a longer hold, feel free. But the way I like to trade is more in flow with the price. I'm not really trying to predict too far. I'm predicting short-term movements based on the immediate information that the market is presenting. So if the market is saying it's likely to come down, then I'm getting ready to grab put options. If the market is telling me he's ready to shift gears and go up in the next minutes or the next hour or the next day, then I'll train myself to be able to shift gears and grab call options, because I believe I'll make money on the way up. All right, so that is NVIDIA's expectations, and obviously NVIDIA is going to affect the overall market. If this ranges, if it goes down, is going to increase the chances of the S&P 500 going down, and a lot of other stocks as well. All right, so that is pretty much it for today. We have the September mentorship. It's gonna start September 8th, and we're gonna have this Labor Day sale, which is gonna go live starting Friday, and it's gonna be 80% off of the 6-week mentorship, which is gonna include a whole video library of everything trading A to Z, if you're a beginner, all the way to if you're experienced, because you can learn not only how to read candlesticks, but you'll learn my strategy, and you're gonna learn crazy techniques that is simple, but the reason why I say crazy is because it works really well for how simple it is. All right, so check out the link in the bio, get your tickets while the sale is live, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.